Hey, Cowboys Nation! Welcome back to the channel. Now, I know all of you have been waiting for some updates about the Dallas Cowboys, and let me tell you, there's a ton going on right now. We're talking about big moves, major decisions, and game-changing updates that could shape the team for years to come. So, grab your popcorn, because we're diving deep into the latest with Stephen Jones, Micah Parsons, Trey Lance, Osa Odighizuwa, and Jourdan Lewis. Trust me when I say that these are the players you need to keep your eyes on for the 2025 season. Whether it's about salary cap maneuvers, career-altering decisions, or unexpected rise to stardom, today's breaking news has something for every Cowboys fan. Let's start with the man who pulls the strings behind the scenes, Stephen Jones. You know him as the executive vice president of the Dallas Cowboys. But Stephen's role goes far beyond just managing the cap space. His influence over the team's roster moves and contracts has been a driving force in the Cowboys' strategy. But over the past year, we've seen a clear shift in the way he's operating. One of the biggest headlines recently was Stephen's strategic approach to the salary cap. The Cowboys were facing a situation where some contracts were ballooning, and the team was going to need to make some tough decisions. Well, Stephen got to work, restructuring some key deals and ensuring that the team has enough flexibility to make a few big moves. This is critical because the Cowboys are looking to improve their roster with a championship window that is wide open. He made headlines with his willingness to part ways with some high-profile players, like cutting ties with veteran players who no longer fit the team's long-term plans. But that doesn't mean he's giving up on the present. Stephen knows that having Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons on the roster is a huge advantage, but they need more support to truly contend for a Super Bowl. In a recent interview, Stephen talked about the Cowboys' approach to the upcoming draft and free agency. The Cowboys' focus is clear: they want to balance the development of young stars with keeping veteran leadership. So, expect to see a mix of bold moves and calculated, long-term investments. Let's also dive into the financial moves and how they could set up the team for future success. He's also looking to take care of guys like Parsons and Dak, which could mean some major contract extensions. Now, let's talk about one of the most exciting players in the NFL right now, Micah Parsons. Every Cowboys fan knows that Micah has the potential to be one of the greatest defensive players in the history of the franchise. In fact, some might say he's already one of the top linebackers in the league today. But what's next for Micah? Micah's been hard at work in the offseason, refining his skills and improving his game. The biggest takeaway from his offseason program? He's getting even more versatile. While Parsons has been the go-to edge rusher, the Cowboys coaching staff is working to increase his role in coverage as well. In the past, Mike has been used predominantly as a pass rusher, and rightly so. His ability to get to the quarterback is unmatched. But we know that in the modern NFL, versatility is key, and Micah is ready to do it all. Imagine this: Micah Parsons lining up on the outside, then dropping back into coverage, or blitzing from the middle. It's scary to think about what that will do to opposing offenses. There are talks of Micah becoming the new face of the Cowboys defense, and if he can expand his game to be even more unpredictable, he'll be virtually impossible to block. But here's where it gets interesting: Micah's contract extension is on the horizon. The Cowboys will likely need to lock him up for the long term, and when they do, it's going to be one of the richest defensive contracts in NFL history. Will the Cowboys be able to afford such a deal? And what does this mean for other young stars on the team? We'll discuss all the angles on Parsons' future with the Cowboys and how his contract could affect the roster. Next, we have the young quarterback Trey Lance. Now, this is a name that has generated a lot of buzz ever since the Cowboys acquired him in a trade with the San Francisco 49ers. Trey Lance was once seen as a potential franchise QB when the 49ers took him with the 3rd overall pick in the 2021 draft. But after struggles to secure the starting role in San Francisco, Lance found himself behind Dak Prescott on the Cowboys' depth chart. But here's the twist: Trey Lance isn't just sitting on the bench waiting for his turn. Reports have come out that Lance has been impressing coaches and teammates alike during training camp. His physical abilities, especially his arm strength and mobility, are undeniable. He's working with quarterback coaches and offensive coordinators to refine his skills and become a more accurate passer. Could we see a true competition between Dak Prescott and Trey Lance? It's an intriguing thought. While Dak is the clear starter, Trey Lance has the upside to eventually compete for that job. The big question is whether he can develop quickly enough to make an impact. Does Lance's future lie as the Cowboys' backup or as their starting quarterback in the future? If Dak Prescott ever goes down with injury, or if the Cowboys want to inject some new energy into the offense, Lance could be called upon sooner rather than later. Let's break down Trey's strengths and weaknesses and explore why the Cowboys may be taking a risk on him. Can he be the next big thing, or will he fade into obscurity as just another backup? Next up, let's talk about Osa Odighizuwa, the Cowboys' rising star on the defensive line. While Micah Parsons is the headliner on the Cowboys' defense, Osa has been quietly becoming one of the most important players on that line. Last season, Osa showed flashes of brilliance. His ability to disrupt the pocket, collapse the interior, and generate consistent pressure on opposing quarterbacks was evident. This offseason, Osa has been training like never before. Reports from the team say that he's increased his strength and conditioning, putting on some serious muscle. This means that Osa is ready to take on double teams more often and have even more of an impact on the game. His growth could be a game changer for the Cowboys defense, especially with the added pressure that Parsons brings on the edge. But here's where Osa really shines: his versatility. He can line up both as a defensive tackle and a defensive end, giving the Cowboys flexibility when they need to adjust their defensive fronts. We saw Osa flash that ability last season, but 2025 could be his breakout year, and that could be huge for the Cowboys' Super Bowl hopes. Could Osa become the key piece of the Cowboys' defensive line this season? Let's dive deeper into his performance last year, and what kind of leap he could make in 2025. Finally, we have Jourdan Lewis. Now, Lewis has always been a fan favorite for his ability to lock down receivers and make plays in the secondary. But injuries have plagued him in recent years. After a strong start to his career, Lewis has had to deal with some tough setbacks, including a serious injury that sidelined him for a chunk of the 2024 season. But here's the good news: Jourdan is back, and reports from Cowboys training camp indicate that he's looking as good as ever. His speed, footwork, and ability to make quick decisions are all there. The real question is whether he can stay healthy throughout the season. If he can avoid the injuries that have held him back, Jourdan Lewis could return to his role as one of the Cowboys' most reliable cornerbacks. With the Cowboys secondary needing a leader, Lewis could be the veteran presence they need to guide the younger corners. His playmaking ability has never been in question, and if he stays healthy, Jourdan could be one of the breakout players on defense this year. Let's talk about his potential return to form and what it means for the Cowboys secondary. Alright, Cowboys fans, that's a wrap on today's breaking news. We've covered a lot of ground, from Stephen Jones making critical decisions to Micah Parsons' contract talks and Trey Lance's future in Dallas. Osa Odighizuwa and Jourdan Lewis could also be key players to watch this season, and there's a lot of excitement building around all of them. What do you think? How do you see the Cowboys roster shaping up this season? Who do you think will be the breakout star, and what do you make of the future of Micah Parsons and Trey Lance? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing your take. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on any of our future Cowboys updates. As always, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.